You seen Zane on yet, are you?
No, not yet.
Gonna get some snow, John, this weekend?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, a little bit, I think, Dusty, but they're talking more, I think Monday
Yeah?
might be getting a little bit, but,
More of a icing situation rather than plowing?
yeah, I heard one to two
Yeah.
for tomorrow night, and now it's just down, I think it's gonna,
I
Dusty.
don't know if the plow on the truck yet then.
Hey,
No.
Hey, John, can you turn on the...
I love it.
Yeah.
Ain't switching it over yet.
Huh?
I'm just leaving.
Jeff, is your mic on?
No. Oh. I'd love it if we saw snow about
Turn the top
2040.
it on too, look, by the way.
What's that? Somebody's on. Gary's on.
Testing.
Joe,
One, two, testing. Joe.
Very good, all the way around.
Was he coughing and hacking? He's limping.
I'm gonna stand before, so, because I have to turn this on. Would you let me know 2 seconds before you, I have 4 minutes yet.
Before Christmas?
unfortunately.
21st, okay. So you don't have to wish anybody Merry Christmas tonight. You have another board meeting.
Tonight?
21st
Yep, and the 13th.
and 13th?
It's a public hearing for that zoning on
Oh.
enterprise.
That's the plan commission and combined town commission, town board. Yep.
No, thank you, but thank you. Oh, you piece of crap.
You can get Tom fill a glass of water out
Yeah.
there. Then I'll go to the bathroom.
Does he have his microphone on?
Yeah.
Yep. You want me to fill it
Nope.
halfway
You
up?
can hear you filling your water.
Oh, yeah, I was making sure you guys were all awake. I was gonna holler, hey, you guys, wake up out there.
Sharon, can you see if you can get this thing on?
What do you need?
It's not turning on. Do you have any idea? I've never seen it where it's dead like that. She said she replaced the batteries. I wonder if the batteries are in right.
Probably not. Jeez, oh, can't see nothing. Yeah, she had the batteries in wrong.
Well, thank you, John. You want me to start, Tom, or you want to?
Sure. Gentlemen, you ready?
Yep.
Hey, you're live.
All right. Call a Vernon Town Board of Supervisors meeting to order for December 7th, 2016 at 6 p.m. All rise for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Chairman Thomas Byrd.
Present.
Supervisor Jeff Millies.
Present.
Supervisor Gary Wildy.
Present.
Supervisor Bill Craig. Mr. Chairman, you do have a quorum of your board present. Supervisor Ed Moline is ill, and DPW Director John Henneberry is here. Also, Building Inspector Vince Budiak.
Open meetings complaint.
Mr. Chairman, the agenda was posted inside and outside the Vernon Town Hall to the media, to other businesses within the town of Vernon. You're in full compliance with the open meetings law.
All right. Public comments. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? The record shows there are no public comments. Possible closed session. I'm going to read the motion to go into closed session as item number 7. Consideration and possible action on a motion to convene into executive session under Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 Pren 1 Pren E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, more specifically negotiation of the border agreement with the Village of McGuanago and certain cooperative border agreements with communities bordering the town of Vernon, and consideration and possible action on a motion to convene an executive session under Wisconsin State Stat 19.85 Pren 1 Pren C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of a public employee over which the governing body has jurisdiction, or exercises responsibility specifically to review of the 2018 DPW Director contract. Included in the closed session will be the DPW Director and the Vernon Town Board Supervisors and the Town Clerk. That motion will require a roll call vote. Okay, that will be at the end of the meeting. So, miscellaneous matters. Following matters will be discussed and possible action taken, unless otherwise noted. Item A, new cable internet service for town of Vernon residents currently without service. Chairman, I received a call from a person, or is he here?
Yes, sir.
You want to come up to the microphone there, please, and state your name and address?
My name is Theodore Tonkus. Don't have my current address I'm not memorized yet. As of tomorrow, I'll be a new resident of the town of Vernon. I contacted Spectrum Cable. The house that I'm moving into currently does not have internet or cable ran to it. So we reached out to Spectrum Cable to see if we can get cable service. They had quoted us $10,482 for construction fees. I contacted, that was from their residential services. I then contacted their business service. My wife has a small home business that she runs, an accounting firm, and asked them to quote it through a business, and they then quoted me $14,325. So I've asked them to itemize or break down the costs, and they could not provide that information to me. I asked them to break down labor costs, material costs, and they couldn't provide. I then asked if somebody was to, if we were to extend their infrastructure, if they were going to provide me with a credit if somebody else was to splice off or tie off this 900-foot or 1,000-foot run. They could not provide me any information regarding that. I also asked if they would sign a contract if I have to shell out $10,000 to secure some reasonable cable costs, instead of having them charge me more each year to try and recoup some of the $10,000 I need to invest in to expand their infrastructure, and they told me they would not sign a contract. I looked at other options, direct wireless, which is microwave technology. I would have to put a 200-foot tower in my yard in order to get the access to New Berlin, which is the closest location that's providing fixed wireless. We also contacted AT&T, Verizon, and unfortunately there is no infrastructure to support DSL or even fiber optic cable if I wanted to run fiber from my house to wherever the nearest junction point was. The last option was satellite, which is what we're currently going with now, just so that we could have internet. Unfortunately, because we do video conferencing, it will not work. There's a significant delay within the satellite internet that would basically impact voice and image. So, but that's what we're faced with right now.
Well, when we first talked, you said it was 950, well, it's 964 feet.
Yes.
And I was thinking that this was along the road, and there was no, because we have some places where there is, they don't have service along the road for the right-of-ways and everything. But this is 964 feet. Most of that is your driveway.
Right. When we asked them where they were bringing the cable from, they wouldn't provide that information. So there's a new subdivision that is kitty corner to where our house is located. But when we asked where they would be pulling that line from, they said they couldn't tell us. They actually didn't have any communication with their construction team at all. It's a whole separate entity, and they would not put me in contact with anybody on the construction team. So I can give you details.
So it's pretty vague on what they're saying here, that they've got directional boring that they're gonna do when they survey, and that's a reason for the high cost.
Which is, if they were gonna go down my driveway, they can simply use a trencher instead of doing directional boring.
Gentlemen? Any ideas, or?
Well, we're kind of stymied in regard to cable service. According to what the attorney was indicating here, the state laws regulate cable service, and his comment is there's not much that the town can do to circumvent the state law.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what alternative the gentleman has in regard to getting cable service. It'd be nice if we could do something for him and maybe make some calls, but it seems like they indicated that this is what their position is, and that's what they're going to stand by. I don't know if you have anything, Jeff?
No, usually when they put in a subdivision, they run the cable with the electric and gas, and I don't know if, it sounds like you can't even work with them, or if you can put the cable in on your own and then have them hook it up, but I don't think that you can even get anywhere with them, so I don't know what your options really are.
So I did contact Madison, and I was informed that it's actually not a cable issue, it's called a broadband issue. So because they changed the name from cable and video to broadband, it changes the whole game. So is there any plan to expand from like AT&T, Verizon, and expand the broadband services that they provide instead of just dealing with strictly Spectrum cable?
Not on the books as of now. Even with the Towns Association, there's talk about broadband reception. They've got, they're starting some pilot programs of putting the broadband receivers and on top of the telephone poles. along the road, and it just shoots from telephone pole to telephone pole, and they can shoot so many of them, and then they just need a booster, and then it can go on for that, and then everybody can pick up off of that. And that, then they wouldn't need the towers. But that's, I don't know how far that's out. That's the only thing I know.
But there's nothing on the books where they're...
In the town right now, no, there's nothing for broadband. We go to, you may want to contact the Towns Association. Karen can give you that number, because they have some, up north in the townships, they have a real problem with that. And for the high school kids and all that, they can't get. Some of them gotta travel into town and sit at the restaurant or the local establishments or whatever and do their homework and to get onto the computers and stuff so they can get the Wi-Fi. So you may want to contact that, Karen, you can give them the numbers for that.
Right, the only thing is the federal government does have broadband granting programs, but typically who's getting them, I mean, communities can apply for, especially rural areas where service is not provided, communities can apply for those grants. The only problem is a lot of your big, all the big players that you talked about are also applying so that they can provide service. If you want, as the chairman said, I can get you the Towns Association information. I can do a follow-up next week sometime on to the status of broadband granting for the town of Vernon and to see if anybody's doing anything or should be, because like the chairman indicated, there's areas of our community that doesn't have service at all, so I can follow through on that also.
Okay, thank you.
I can sympathize with you. I had the problem when I moved in cable service. You're at their mercy, because they can basically do whatever they go where they want to and do what they want to based on the amount of customers that they can pull in. That's what their whole objective is. And we were in a position where I waited 5 to 7 years before I was able to get service, and it was not something that I can understand with your frustration in dealing with them.
They did state that they would cover the first $5,000 of installation. So if they were able to get, say, 2 or 3 more customers who would be willing to go in, they would basically be free.
Yeah.
However, if I don't know where they're running it from,
Right.
there's nobody I can contact. So
It's a tough situation. I know problems.
So Steve, I don't think there's much we can do for you, other than sympathize with you.
And that don't get you cable
No,
service.
because
No, sir, it doesn't.
there's other people in the town that are in the same
Yeah.
situation. But,
Yeah,
they can't get it.
Well, thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Well, I'd just like to get it out there, because this is a webcast, so it's out there now. So,
I would keep calling them on a regular basis. That's what I did.
That's what I'm doing. I keep calling them until I get the right answer.
Yeah, just keep harassing them to the point maybe they get tired of listening to you and they'll do something for you.
Steve, I'll try too to get their engineering maps, if I can get some maps from them, because like Supervisor Wildy indicated, AT&T is in a very, very small portion, where Ingersoll was the original cable installator here, but maybe we can see what, I'm sure the board would like to see what parts of the town are not serviced at all also.
and you had some questions, like, where are you running the cable from? You know, where did you take your survey? If you can give a list of those to Madam Clerk, she can disseminate us. When we get some time, we can call them. I'll give them a call and ask, hey, what's going on with this? You know, where do you guys run for? You won't answer him a simple question. You know?
You might get a little more action coming from us rather than coming from you.
I appreciate it.
I ain't promising anything, but I'll make some phone calls for you.
A little bit helps. Thanks again.
All right. Establish healthcare savings account for the town employees for insurance. Gentlemen, Madam Clerk, will you give us a breakdown on what's going on with that?
DPW Director John Henneberry was instructed to ask the employees to find out from their banks the availability to start healthcare savings accounts. You already know what Citizens Bank's policy is. The employees would have to establish those accounts, and we could get all the information that regulates the healthcare savings account, but typically whatever the town decides that they would like to deposit in those accounts, that would become the employees. It's a non-taxable amount of money that's put in that account for them. I didn't get all the information because I didn't know if that was something that you wanted to start right away, but the employer cannot, open the account. The employee does. The check would have to be made out to the employer and the employee to deposit in the healthcare savings account. John, I don't know if you've got all the employees' banking information.
Kathy was probably the only one that was not going to use Citizens as of right now.
But Kathy and Kurt Effinger do have, their bank does. So even though it's not established with Citizens, which really doesn't matter to us, it's my understanding all the employees have a bank that they could start that healthcare savings account.
How does that really work? Where's the money come from? Do they take it out of their salary, or do we kick in a portion, or what? If
the employee wants the tax benefit, then they would instruct the employer how they would like that deduction, and then on every pay period, that a portion, whatever the employee delegates to their bank, it would go to that specific account, and then it's between. Yes, it would be listed. I mean, we would account for it, but on their W-2 at the end of the year, you'd see where the portion that shows their pension, you'd see their healthcare. It's a separate line item that would show what the employee deposited into that account. And then it's really between the employee and the IRS. The town has nothing to do except for.
Does that that health savings account, can that be used for prescriptions and doctor visits? Can it be used for anything medical? So mine can be used for everything, like dental, even dental.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you got a documented receipt.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
And that's between the employee and the IRS. The town doesn't get involved at all.
No.
It's really up to the employee.
All right.
No.
I can get all the information. If that's something the board really, wants to, get all the information for the board and the employees so they can see, how it works and, what can and cannot be done, what the regulations are. Whether you do it at one bank or another, the law is still the law.
Right.
And then you just have to decide how much money you'd like to put in, the town would like to put in, and then based on the employee, I can do that on a weekly. I can change that however the employee wants to do that. They can, as long as I have in writing, they give me permission to deduct X amount of dollars. They can change that every other pay period, as far as I'm concerned, as long as I have the documentation. But it is a tax. It is tax exempt. Any amount of money to a certain level that they can put in.
It was my understanding that Karen, John, and myself were going to meet after Karen had all the info together. I know she's been waiting for some stuff. I'd sure like to sit down and see what all the parameters are.
I can get that to you next week, Bill, and
that would be good.
And then I'll get it to John.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was, I know it's a motion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to.
I'll get that to you, Bill, and to John, and then John can get it to his employees and the board also, so everybody's looking at the same thing. Is that okay? And then you could put on the next board meeting.
Can you guys set a date now in your calendars when you can do that?
Do you have everything we need, Karen, at this point? You feel?
No, but I'd have it by, Monday.
Sure. Might as well set something up if we can.
Well, I want to get this done before the end of the year. So, if we need to have a special meeting or something like that. That's why I'd like to get a date set, so you guys could look at that, and then if there's anything else, we could bring it back to the board, have a special meeting or whatever. And do that, so.
The only day that's bad for me next week is Monday. When,
Monday's bad?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, during the day I'm more flexible next week, and could do Tuesday or Wednesday during the daytime.
if you could do it Tuesday early, because I gotta get my stitches on. Like 8:30 Tuesday?
Sure.
Tuesday,
Well-
8:30?
On the twelfth?
Yep. And then Tom, you want it on the 21st?
Oh yeah, that stays on
Okay.
till we get it done. Okay. So meeting date is set for,
Tuesday, the 12th at
Tuesday.
8:30. And then on the board agenda, the 21st, correct?
all right. Item C, resolution 2017-13, resolution to borrow $200,000 for the 2017 budget for the plow truck and part of the new tractor mower. Gentlemen, we had the original. And just to give a little summary of that, we had 2017 budget we were going to borrow. In the budget was approved by the electorate that we were going to borrow $400,000 for that equipment. And we didn't need that much.
No.
So we come up with at the end of the year here, to keep everything going and that, we only need to borrow $200,000, not 2,000, 200,000. So that's to refresh everybody's memory a little bit. We couldn't sneak it all out of the budget, but we got half of it, so. So are there any comments?
I was just wondering, now that property taxes are coming in, any chance of delaying borrowing it until we actually run out of money next year?
Well, it was supposed to become a bookkeeping nightmare.
Yeah,
Howard,
trying to avoid some interest, yeah.
Howard be calling me.
You might have a conniption.
Mm-hmm.
Because he restated that fact at the budget hearing that you weren't gonna borrow the 400, just the two. But you'll be in a great position when you do your next budget, I can promise you that.
Yeah. And then if we do have more left over, like, ideally, the $3 million that is the budget, we like to keep 10% of that. That's what Howard says, and that would be $300,000. And we're comfortable with 100, 125.
Yeah.
That's what we said at the budget level here. So if we go up over that again, we could always use that money to pay debt. Not spend it, but use it to pay debt. And we definitely got that bridge is coming. The center bridge there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be quite a price tag too that we're gonna have to borrow. So if we could pay down some debt. And then, we borrow it again for a bridge. Taxes won't take a big hit.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd like to see.
You and the rest of us.
You need a motion, Chairman?
Yep.
I make a motion for a resolution 2017-13, resolution to authorize the borrowing of funds for the town of Vernon DPW plow, truck and mower in the amount of $200,000.
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
How those figures just roll off your tongue when it's not your money.
$200,000 is a lot of money.
Yes, it sure is.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And then the first installment is due a year from now.
Yep.
Yeah, next December. So with this resolution, we have, now I'm talking to you, Madam Clerk, we have from Citizens Bank, are you gonna set up the,
What I would do is have the board members sign the resolution. I'll send that to Jim tomorrow, and then he'll get all the paperwork ready for us to do the signing on the 18th.
he's got the date already picked out on the 18th?
Yes.
He's got the 16th here, I'll set up.
The new one, the new resolution.
It's the 18th, okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'll get it over here. And then you'll let me know the time?
Yes. The treasurer will have to go, and we don't all have to be together at the same time, but we'll all have to sign the paperwork that day.
Yeah. It works out good when we just all do it.
Yep.
Replacement for Public Health and Safety Committee. Supervisor to Mr. Wiley.
Yeah, a question came up. We sent a letter to one of the members on the Public Health and Safety, and it came back that the resident didn't live there any longer. So, in doing some talking with Karen looked into it and determined that the person on the committee owns property in the town of Vernon, but he does not physically live there. He lives in Waukesha. The question arises, and looking at the Public Health Committee, doesn't say anything about residency or in regard to having to live in the community. So I thought I'd bring it to the board and find out what your feelings are in regard to a person in this position. Do you want to have something determining that the person has to physically live in the town of Vernon? Or as a property owner, does he have the right to be on a committee? So that's the quandary as of right now. I'm looking for a little direction.
Myself personally, if he owns something in the town of Vernon, that means he's paying taxes in the town of Vernon.
He is. Yep.
He's got all the ability to be on any committee that he
Okay.
wishes or has an opening, as far as I'm concerned.
All right.
Supervisors?
I agree. Okay.
My only concern is you could own a lot in Vernon. You have no contact with what's going on and you're voting on health and safety issues. It's the first thing that comes to mind. Or even if you own an investment property in Vernon, I like to see, I'm glad Gary's bringing this up. I'm totally blindsided. I just assumed that we had for all our committees a mandatory occupancy requirement. So I guess I'm uncomfortable having committee members out there just because they own property being run. It's pretty ambiguous after a while.
Well, I'm willing to go along whichever direction the board would like to go. Ed's not here tonight to get his, if you want to hold it over, we're not going to have a meeting in December. We won't have our next meeting until January, the end of January. So if you want to hold it until Ed's here to make a final vote on it or anything, I don't have any objection to that at all. The gentleman on the committee hasn't been at the last two public health meetings. I don't know if that's, I haven't got a phone call or anything regarding it, so I have no idea if he's just hasn't been able to make it or what, but.
So you haven't contacted him?
No, haven't had a chance to call him.
Do you have an address where he's residing?
He's in the village of McGuanago.
He's in the village of McGuanago.
Yeah, but I don't have I don't really have any, I thought he was living at the address in the town of Vernon, to
Yeah.
tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You know, so we could probably try and find him, we wouldn't have no difficulty finding him.
Madam Clerk, you wanna write him a letter, just a nice letter, asking him if he wants to still, you know, be on that committee? Maybe he moved and doesn't even wanna be on that committee and he just didn't resign yet.
Yeah. I think his wife owns a business in the village of Waukesha.
Okay.
And I think he possibly is, this is his first wife passed away, so I think this is his second wife, and she probably has a residence in the village, and he's probably living there and renting out the home in the town of Vernon.
Okay.
So you want us to pursue that with
Would-
that? We can do that, that's not a big problem.
Is the issue, is that the issue, or the issue is residency on all
Well,
committees?
that's what Bill brought up is the issue, you know, and I think it's applicable to all the committees, really. We should probably make a decision regarding, and I would just soon wait till Ed gets here to make that decision, you know.
I mean, otherwise, we could have someone appointed to the plan commission deciding on zoning issues in Vernon, which could be adverse to our interests.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even know who the person is, fortunately, but let's say, for example, I'm on the plan commission, I physically live in McWanago now, am I gonna be objective enough to make my vote in Vernon's favor?
Okay. I like the discussion, but it's not the agenda item. So we should have the next discussion on if we want all members to be
Right, that should be,
residents. That should be
an agenda
that should be
item.
the discussion item.
right, that's fine, yeah,
Okay. And with this agenda item, if we could send a letter out
Yeah.
to him
Have that in
seeing
there.
if he still wants to participate in that committee? Okay.
Well, how's it worded for bond on a town board? Must be a resident, or
That's state statute.
we should almost follow that throughout, I would think.
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
it'll give us time to research it.
Yep.
And if
It's
you
something
know,
that
if he
probably,
moved out and hasn't come,
probably
and
should be
maybe,
addressed.
you know, maybe that's already a done deal with him. I'm assuming it's a yes. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right, authorize South Chairman to sign the 2018 Vernon Fire Chief contract. I talked with the fire chief, and he said that there was nothing in the contract that he wanted to change for next year.
I had a question under compensation, that last line, with first salary review at 6 months. Is that just supposed to be for a new contract, or is he entitled to a salary review every 6 months?
It's been like that ever since I've been here.
Yeah, I just, nobody else's contract worded that way.
Well, we could,
I mean, his first salary review, meaning that could have taken place, years
we
ago.
could change that, we could cross out the first with the salary review at 9 months when we start in September for,
Yeah.
not the first one, but if I remember right, I was here when the chief became chief. And there were some issues. When he was voted on, he didn't get a unanimous vote as for chief. There were a couple of people that didn't vote yes on that. So with that being said, the town board thought, okay, let's review them in 6 months. And if we have cause, then we'll handle it. So I think now he's been chief since 2010, that's 7 years. I think we could change that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know if that was supposed to be every review every 6 months, or is that just supposed to be a review after his
Yeah,
first 6 months?
I think it's
So,
a good idea to keep the review policy in there, because we did have some questions this past year. That would be a good opportunity to discuss it with chief at a review time, but 9 months would be, I think, be adequate, Tom.
so it says compensation for employer and service employee shall be paid $40,304 and to be paid equally bi-weekly installments less appropriate withholding taxes with, it says now, first salary review at 6 months.
Change that.
Cross out the first, so it says with salary, with a salary review at 9 months.
I just like to see that whole phrase out,
So withholding taxes as a period,
Yeah,
and then cross out with first salary review at 6 months, cross that whole thing out there? What do you think? Gary?
Yeah, that's fine with me. Yeah,
Fine with me.
yeah.
There are a couple other things too that, if you go to Exhibit B, holding allowance, $300 one-time compensation as part of the chief's uniform. I would assume that would not apply right now.
Well,
I haven't seen a bill since 2013, but I would think if you need to replace clothing, you'd allow him some kind of,
if he does.
Each contract year.
yeah, but I've never seen him turn in a clothing.
The other question is, we are paying some cell phone allowance, which is not showing on the list at all, correct?
It's under mileage, under Exhibit B.
Oh, it's included in the
Yes,
mileage? Oh,
It's mileage and cell phone.
Okay.
well, that clothing, that says one-time compensation, so once he used it,
That's what I would think.
yeah, that's the other thing too, not once per year.
No. That could be scratched out.
Well,
Well, it's just for,
excuse me, I would like to see it stay in there, because if we did shift gears and get in a different direction with another chief, that would still be in there.
Okay.
I think it's easier to have it in there than not.
Kind of just hanging out there the way it is, not too clear. I would agree with you, if there's a new chief, then we'd start from scratch, but, one-time compensation.
Is that his correct address now, Karen?
Yes.
It's on Wolf Court, you may live on Coyote Crossing?
In Wolf Court on Coyote Crossing.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I just, like I said, Alex has never abused that. Since 2013, I've never seen a compensation for clothing
Okay.
for not all the
Yeah,
chiefs.
We'll see it come through in APs.
True.
So I don't think he abuses that.
Okay? All right, so is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the 2001 agreement with the road fire chief.
With the change stated by Supervisor Millies?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. employee agreement for the DPW director. John's gonna be in the closed session. John, do you have anything in your contract you wanted to change now? Or did you wanna wait till closed session and talk about that stuff?
Well, just the vacation hours are off from what they should be,
Okay,
for now.
the 96?
Yeah, I was at 104 this year already. And after next year it'll be another 8 hours.
So what should it be reading?
112.
112. So cross out the 96 and put in the 112. And that's because longevity of service?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, I just wanted to discuss, we never really got a chance to discuss it.
Yeah, that, we'll go in closed session for that.
No, other than that, that's it.
Okay, so we'll take no action on, just gonna take that one for closed session. Okay. Authorize town chairman to sign the assessor's contract. I talked with Cal. Cal said that he had no changes in it. I think he does a good job for us.
I think he does a great job.
Make a motion to approve the assessor's contract for the town of Vernon for 2018.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
This next one.
This is really abusive. I'm kidding. No, he's the best. Next to John.
Karen gets up and probably about
Item H, authorize town chairman to sign the 2018 building inspector's contract. Vince Studio. Vince, do you have any? We talked and you said everything was good?
Yep.
And
No changes, basically the same contract we had over years.
okay, gentlemen, anything you would like to see changed in there? Okay. And we need a motion.
I move that we approve the contractor for inspection services for 2018. Contract for the inspection services.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Vince, you want to sign?
Well, you do have it here.
I have it right here. See, I really want you here, Vince. And we'll give it to Tom.
You might lose it.
Yeah.
Authorize the chairman to sign the building, or the contract for True Green Chemical Lawn Service.
Seven.
What this is here is,
Thanks, Vinny. Do a great job, Vinny.
this is for the spraying of the fertilizer late spring, and the weed deterrents, and the fall fertilizer for the broadleaf for next spring. So,
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I remember correct, Supervisor Moline had questions regarding if this is our best bet that we can get for this job. I know he's not here, but I'm just kind of speaking for him. Is this did we put this out for any kind of competitive?
She's been sending me this to renew, and I said, I'm not signing it because
Okay.
You guys to do it, last time we got
Right.
in the middle of it, but, she just stated that, you know, we've been with these guys for, almost 15 years, since like 97 or something, she thought it was, but it's just been,
Automatic.
just an automatic, yeah, I mean, I've never looked around, you know, quite honestly. It was just something that,
I think Doug did though.
When we first started, that was like 97,
yeah,
when we first started doing the application.
that's what she
And we
said.
did sign a contract back then. I think they held it on for like 8 years, 5-year contract, they held prices for them on. So we've had it since a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody's happy with them, it's just, they're doing a good job.
Okay,
And they're basically for the parks and for around the town hall.
Town Hall, Heather Ridge, yeah, and Ball Diamond and stuff down here.
Which is a few acres.
Yeah, it's quite a bit,
It's a dandelion town.
yeah. So,
do you deal with any kind of lawn service at all? No? I just wondered if you had any input regarding if this is I'm speaking more for Ed than for myself, you know, because I know that he had questions about the cost.
Jeff, you wanna put a bid in?
No.
Free time?
I think I raised the question once also whether we need two.
Right.
Application.
Or can we do June for, I'm no lawn expert by any means, but I'll usually get everything June, July, and that's it. That controls dandelions a little bit.
Twice a year is pretty much standard, you know, it's recommended, so. I mean, like, you know, obviously, but, like I said, we've been using them for forever.
Usually the product's the least expensive part of all of it, it's the labor and equipment needed to.
Yeah,
Hmm.
So this is for 2 applications.
spring and fall, yes.
Yeah.
And then even with that bid, you know, fertilizers is a wide range, if you try to bid it out, you don't know what you're comparing apples to apples.
Even for us to go out and buy the fertilizer and then put it on, I don't think we could do it for that cost. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we don't have the equipment to do it obviously
Right.
either, so it's,
We tried it one time we did it with buying the tractor.
Doesn't
And
work.
these guys come in with their little scooter buggies and they go up and down them hills, zippity zap, they got everything else.
I think this is money that's well spent. I've seen them out there
Oh,
in
yeah.
the fall. I've never seen them in the spring, but I've seen them out there in the fall doing it.
I only bring it up because I was a question I was asked at the board. You know, I don't have any complaints about the job that they do. I know that there's hardly any weeds out there. Good shape.
Well, John, would you make a note
Next year.
to, maybe in the spring, just call another contractor to see, and then, get a couple of prices
Sure.
and see what that would be?
yeah, that's not a
And then
problem.
you can drop it off in our mailboxes, and then
Yeah.
we don't have to, you know,
Yeah, for
big
next
deal
thing.
out of it, but just to check.
Good, I think that would appease
Sure.
Ed too.
No, it's probably not a bad idea, like I say, after
Yeah.
that long, you kinda gotta keep them honest, you know? So,
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with True Green Commercial.
I'll second it. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Contract with Professional Communication System for the town phone system. Madam Clerk.
This was in your packet during the budget process. We did have 3 other vendors. As you know, our phones, poor Vince hasn't had a phone for, I think, over a year and a half. This never works. I mean, we have a lot of problems with our phone. And this is someone that Ron Radke works with also, so we're combining some of the technology we have, you know, for our IT with the phones, and this is the town and both fire stations.
Sure, Vince wants a phone?
So that's all the hardware, all the mechanics, and all the labor?
Everything, yep.
Everything's inclusive, huh?
Mm-hmm.
For the town hall and the fire department, both?
Both.
Both,
Mhm.
okay,
Station 1 and 2.
all right. Well, this here, the equipment list is kind of like read and greet, you know, I have no idea what, all I can see is that, you know, we're getting 6 of this and 3 of them.
It's basically
I have to depend on them, that they're providing us with the equipment that we want.
right, yeah, and need.
Well, we did budget, right?
Yes, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yep.
we did budget. So, this wouldn't be till the first of the year?
They'll start right away, but we wouldn't get billed to the first of
How
the
long
year.
will
Till
it
like
take them?
January, okay.
What's that?
How long will it take them to put this all in?
Couple weeks?
Oh, not too bad, Christmas holidays.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to accept the bid for, professional communication system for the installation of new phone system for both the town hall and both fire stations in the amount of $15,000, let me get the page 2 here. $15,367. Are we gonna pay that all in one lump sum? Because it says
Yes.
you can go per month if you want, but
Yep.
it's probably more expensive.
And it's approving the contract, not accepting the bid.
Approving the contract.
Yeah, they've got it broke out, Gary, if we do the 60 months at $337, it's gonna cost us 20 grand.
Oh, okay, I didn't do the math out.
So if we pay for it in a lump
Yeah,
sum,
almost $5,000.
yeah. We owe them 338, and then we owe them 15, and then the last part of it,
Okay,
the 9. So,
and see, it includes user training.
All systems do.
and that's the software, everything for it.
Yes, yes.
So we need a second on that yet.
I'll second.
This is basically a 1-year parts and labor warranty. And then they quote a 4-year extended for $13.84 per year. So do you think we need extended? No?
All the customers that I talked to never purchased that, never needed it.
Yeah.
Hopefully this technology will outlast, but the way that technology goes, I don't know.
They'll be updated in 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Contract with All Occasions Catering Service for the Town Volunteer Appreciation.
This is a contract for the appreciation dinner. It's set at 75 with the understanding that if we need to go up, we can. I just had to have a base amount for them. But they do a very nice job.
Food was good last year.
I'm just asking the town board to approve that contract.
So we're approving the 1284.73 or approved?
Right, with the understanding that if it has to be increased, I mean, it wouldn't be increased substantially, but I'd hate to lock, I mean, I would lock it in at this with the understanding that if, you know, the number goes up or down, the dollar amount would change.
Okay. I was just looking for the per person amount and,
I think it's on there, Bill.
It is 25.
what is it again?
1425.
Oh. I would move we approve, Catering Specialties Inc. contract for the appreciation dinner catering,
Mm-hmm.
with the understanding that if additional, people opt to come, that, we would just add the per person fee onto that amount. That's clear or not?
To me it is. Is it to you, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
I'll second
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Correspondence, I have none.
I don't have anything either.
You want reports or course, I don't have any
You
correspondence.
can do both, report
Okay.
and correspondence.
Just a fast update that in regard to the equipment that we've been attempting to get removed from Fire Station 1. It's gone. The trailer's gone and the Boy Scout equipment trailers are all been moved down to another location. And thank you to Mrs. Shu's son who got the trailer out after the fire department unloaded all of the crap that were, all the junk that was in the trailer. They still have some stuff laying up there that I would like to see removed. Plus there's a vehicle in the back there that's been there for a couple of weeks. I don't know, that black SUV back there, I don't know who that belongs to, but it's been sitting there for at least a week or so. And there's a boat back there. We need to talk to the fire chief. You have to have him clean that up just a little more to make it, but I appreciate the fact that we got rid of the stuff out of there. And I did have a conversation with a resident who was concerned regarding the extension of Glen Echo that was going to be completed from the Village of Big Bend subdivision, my understanding, and this is just unconfirmed, that I've heard that has been turned down. They're not going to extend that road into the town on the cul-de-sac on Glen Echo, so that would be good news for the residents that have been opposed to that up there. So other than that, I didn't have anything else.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
I had one party contact me several days ago and got me thinking about the burning permit issue. He said, what is the logic behind the burning permit? Well, at first I thought, well, one of the items that the chief had mentioned was having someone there to take calls and log in and so forth. To which he responded, well, so someone logs it in, now I get a permit on January 1 for all of 18, and I just burn whenever I want to. So I started thinking, yeah, is this really making sense? What? I've got to ask our own board now. Apologetically, I voted for this, and I'm starting to think, okay, what did we really accomplish other than charging $10 for the permit? We don't know who's burning when. All we know is they have a permit to burn in 2018.
I don't think with the 200 calls a day they were getting in the fall or spring, that they knew even who was burning then.
Nope.
At least you got on file something.
So they didn't log it in.
Nope. I don't think they did.
So in other words, what we're saying is this is creating the list.
Yes.
So we know. Okay.
Well, I had an incident once too where somebody called in when we were burning a golf course, and the fire department knew, but Big Ben didn't know, and Big Ben responded to see what was going on. And they were all kind of laughing at the fire station about it. They were listening to it on the radio, yeah.
Well, it's nice that we have responsive individual.
So I kind of, like I said, I apologize, I voted for it at the time. Now I'm thinking, hey, he raised some good points here. We're really not controlling any burning at all. Just said, I've got my $10 permit, go out there as long as the wind's not such and such and it's daylight, I can burn. Okay, leave it go with that. I did have, Mr. Chair, one report item. Should I do that now?
Sure.
Okay. As I think all of you know, Big Ben did have a public hearing, I think, a week ago Monday now. And, the hearing, number one in the hearing was to discuss downzoning a piece of land, approximately 38 acres off of Henneberry, just east of 164. There was some very interesting discussion going, and the real interesting part is there was not one favorable comment from the Plan Commission of their own or from their board members. 3 of their board members in the audience raised questions. One, and Gary, maybe you were, Tom, were on the department, I don't remember this, pointed out that years ago we actually sent fire equipment to pump some basements along Henneberry.
Yes.
Which I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah.
And he's making the point, we've got some broken drain tile over there. John, I don't know if you guys have ever run into that anywhere in that area. I know there's one basement over there that's consistently wet already. Another resident of Vernon who was at the meeting said he's had basement flooding several times, as it is now. So I thought it was interesting, there were 3 village board member comments. One was regarding the basement flooding in the past. The other 2 both stated that they moved out here to have larger lots, more privacy, not smaller lots. The interesting thing is there was not one comment publicly made in favor. There was one written letter submitted, and that letter pointed out the fact that if someone just says, well, hey, if the issue is handling the water, let's just increase the size of the culvert under 164. That culvert, I don't know how many, John, you know where it is, of course, but it's about a half mile north of what the DOT just repaired, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. And this is only like a 29 and 30 inch culvert. So someone off the record proposed, well, we just increase the size of that culvert and that will get any additional water flowing to the river. The problem with that is the elevation of the river from the bottom of that culvert at that point, you can do all you want with culvert size, it's going to just create more floodplain and start backing
Water has
up.
no place to go.
It's, yeah, I think you're right, it's gonna be pushing to the
It'll back
east,
up.
away from the river versus.
In springtime, it goes really high, and then it'll just back up into the cold.
Well, 164 is almost like center down here, it works as a levee.
That's right.
And if you got more holes in the levee, the water's gonna come from the river and it's gonna come back because that gets low down in there. That's it.
A lot of times, it's 4 inches to the road.
You don't build at the bottom of the hill.
No.
Well, and other people have been out here many years say that the river is silted in so much, the bottom of the river has come up substantially too. So that just aggravates the problem even more. But the point of it was good. The way it ended is the applicant withdrew his request for now to take under advisement, and the village president said he'd sit down with them and discuss options or whatever. But it was withdrawn, so there was no vote taken on that issue.
Well, good. If that developer, and I know what it is, but I don't wanna use the name, isn't he gonna have to have a delineation by DNR and with sewer pack for that?
Very good question. That was one of the questions I went with, and before I ever got to it, Bill Craig is not. There was no line of people waiting to hug me when I came in the door. No? So I kept as quiet as I could. But one individual raised that question and said, is there going to be research done on the water table, water management, magic phrase. And the planner said, yes, you will have to have studies done on soil borings, water management, where the water's gonna go, before anything's approved, even at the density that it's at now. So that's a good question. So I was concerned too, like, oh, full steam ahead and we'll worry later.
Well, you know, I would think that they'd have to take into consideration, because there's, you know, that whole shallow tank farm.
Yeah.
That someday may be developed, and if they use up whatever they need to use up for water management down there, what does that property do?
That's a wet area. That area is wet.
Well, and he's got a pond on the other side of Henneberry
Yep.
already.
Well, I'm glad they postponed it.
So we'll see.
That's probably gonna rear its head again though, I would imagine. You know, it's just a temporary holding action.
All right, John?
My report or?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, right now, what we're up to is, snow fencing and getting that all up to par. We got probably over half of it done. Just kinda waited up for the ground to freeze a little more before we start putting fence up. The wind pretty much took a lot of
Be
it.
careful.
The wind took a lot. If you looked over at Muskego, put theirs up along the Salentine farm with that wind, it was laying like this, the whole stretch. So I said, that's why I said, hold on and put it up until the ground freezes and post it.
It was really windy.
Oh, yeah, so we made the right call on that one, but, just to let you guys know, on Monday at 1 o'clock, I'm gonna have a meeting here with the DOT, Mary Beth and the DOT is gonna come and talk about the Crowbar Drive Bridge project. They're redoing some of the I-43 from the White Road up to Crowbar, putting a new deck on the Crowbar, bridge. So they're gonna be rerouting traffic. Well, when she gave me the reroute information, it was basically national up to 164 down to County L. It's all pretty much county roads. So it's not really gonna affect us, but she's gonna come in at 1 o'clock and just kinda go over the whole project. 1 o'clock on Monday. And, just kinda go over the whole scope of what they're intending to do over there. The only thing that's gonna really affect us is the closure of Crowbar, to redeck that bridge.
How long will it be closed?
I don't know, like I said, I think we're gonna go over that probably at this time, so you guys are welcome to join the crowd there. We got our fencing complete up here. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, along the west end of the soccer fields, we got that piece of fence up. They started it today after Thanksgiving, completed it last week. They had to wait for one section post. So that's taken care of. The Oakdale culvert status with the DNR. We had a meeting there on Tuesday. Craig Webster was out, took a look at it, decided we're not gonna need any permitting from the DNR for that project, which is good. He did recommend a few things that we probably should do. First thing out of his mouth was, this is probably not your culvert, this should be the county's, the DOT's. So he went back and talked to the same guys that I talked to, and they told him the same thing, no, it's all the town's problem. So, basically, he got the same answers like we did, so, but he didn't agree with that. So, as far as that goes, now I can submit all the information that I have to Kevin Yanni and keep the ball rolling on that, funding process there. The VAC estimates, I've got 2 estimates here. I don't know if you guys wanna go over these or take a look at them. I've got an estimate for $1,645 from one pretty reputable company for the, samples of the, asbestos abatement, and, the other one was $600. Now this company I've heard some negativity about. They've been kicked off a few job sites for certain reasons and whatnot, but, so.
Why don't you, get them to Madam Clerk, and then she can disseminate, we can put it as a,
An item.
agenda.
Okay, yeah,
Agenda
because
item for next time board.
That was just for asbestos?
That's just for the sampling.
Oh, sampling.
And then, yeah, and then they'll come back and tell you what needs to be removed, and then you can go and get estimates for demolition and removal according to what is needed to be removed. You know, so it's basically, it's a mandatory inspection, you know, that they take samples of everything. I mean, it could be from shingles down to the plaster, the caulking around the windows, siding, flooring. They take samples of everything and they send it in and check it out. So that's where we're at. Yeah, I'll get you guys the copies and then we'll kind of make a decision what we're gonna do with that then. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's just getting ready for winter. We've been waiting. We got everything ready to go. And
have you had any either salting or
no? We got the new truck.
Yeah,
got the new truck set up with the salt brine. Now, just an example of what we're hopefully going to save with that. Just by having that brine on that truck, we dialed that application down by 20% of salt. So we're gonna start with 20%. We might be able to adjust it down lower. So that's just an example of hopefully if we can make this grow a little bit more, expand it to other trucks, we can reduce the salt usage, hopefully.
Will that just be on one particular route?
Right now it is, yes. It's gonna be one route with that one truck. That's and but we can adapt these older trucks. We got probably 3 other trucks that we can use this on, and it's between $5,000 to $6,000 per truck to add that feature onto the older trucks right now. But anything from here on out down the road, we're gonna hopefully keep up with that.
I went out there and took a look at that setup. That's quite the deal. You know, if that works the way John's figures it will, it's going to be pretty significant in regard to the salt usage in the town, and also for effectiveness in regard to safety for people driving on, because that salt does take a while to activate when it goes down.
Right.
With activating it ahead of time will probably increase safety for people to drive. I hope it doesn't make them drive faster, but at least the roads will be in good shape. But it's quite a truck.
The county guys, one guy stopped in here and he said when they use it, they put it down and it's melting when he put it down. It's activated. It's already, you know. They're pretty impressed with it. So hopefully, yeah. I mean, if we can continue.
Is there any type of special? You gotta, wash the truck when it comes back in, or hose it off with the hot
No, I
mean, to
that's,
keep that corrosion down or anything?
most
like
of that stuff is all stainless steel now. It's all it's built to last. With that brine system.
It'll be interesting to see what all, in a real day-to-day situation, how it works.
Kind of excited to try it out and see how well it does work, I mean. But
are you gonna do Skyline? Is that?
It is actually, yeah.
Oh, come on. Who's the cookie?
Oh, that gets icy from.
Will you be able to track the amount of salt that his truck uses versus,
yeah, that's what I said. I got a chart in every truck that we fill up and what we're using on a daily basis. I
be curious to see how effective it does in reducing the salt usage.
Right.
The salt is expensive, isn't it? How much a ton is it?
$62 a ton.
Yeah.
So you put on 10 tons or a truck, you go out one round, you see, it's $620 you're using each time you're going out.
Cut that by 20%.
Yeah. So
that's a significant savings.
I mean, the salt brine itself, you'd be using per load is like 100 gallons. It's 18 cents a gallon to buy.
It's $18. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what we're spending $18 to save.
Yeah.
Couple hundred bucks. So
yeah.
Hopefully, in the long run, we're gonna turn it around and we will start really saving some money on that. So.
Good. Well, be careful with the plowing coming. All right, Madam Clerk?
The only thing I had was the newsletter deadline is tomorrow. Does anybody have articles for the next newsletter? And the only reason it's so, I mean, the other one will come up shortly thereafter, but this one we gotta get out, we wanna get it out beginning of February so that Mike's got all his, classes out. So, I mean, if you miss this time, we'll shoot for next time. Does that sound good? That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
I'm glad everything went well with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yay! That's all I have, guys.
All right, finances, accounts payable dated December 7th.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to state before the board, there's a final number. When Supervisor Craig went through the APs, we had just a small discrepancy on 2 of the reimbursements for firefighters. That has been corrected, so you can see the void and the new checks that are on your final accounts payable.
The one that says final?
Final APs,
AP
yeah,
on it? Okay.
200,000, 340.21.
I'll make a motion that we approve the APs batch 2017-1207 in the amount of, Karen, you have to tell me if I've got this math right, $200,340.21.
That is correct, sir.
I'll second
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Any manual checks?
Yeah, there was a manual checks in the amount of $429.31 for the last card member service payment. That was at the end of your APs.
it. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. So we've got the outstanding accounts receivable.
Request, if I may, to the board where there's an L there, would like to send letters to those people to let them know that either their approval for their site plan of operation may be in jeopardy of being revoked. Or if you'd like, I don't know how you would, or would you like these, and some of these, the damage to government property, to let them know that it might or do you want them to come before the town board and take them, we might take them to small claims court. Do you want a threatening letter done, or what would you like done?
I would think the letters that the people are delinquent for the permits, as you go out, just telling them that they could be in
jeopardy.
violation.
Okay.
And that. And the other ones, I think we should tell them that, and not threaten them, just tell them, we're taking them to court if they don't pay it, that's it.
Right, and
It's
that,
not a threat, we're just telling them.
Yeah,
That's long enough.
they've been on there for
Yeah,
a couple
they've
of
been
years.
on there, yeah.
Yeah.
That's long
They're
enough.
just working their responsibilities.
and that Simon bill, I didn't know which tax bill to put it on, because there are 2 tax bills.
I
So,
would put it to whose name is on the, request. You know, when he came in and signed the, paperwork, to the Marjan, to the
Oh, so-
Marjan Farms
Okay.
there. Not the brother, but the one that came in that requested the split and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, his name is on there because
Yep, yep.
that's who requested it, that's who we actually did
I
it for.
agree. I think
Okay.
that's-
And then we're not getting involved with that brother
Nope.
stuff.
Okay, just,
Well, that
So-
must be fun, the family reunion.
Oh, I don't wanna get into that.
okay,
All right?
that sounds good.
Okay. So we don't need any
No formal action.
formal action. Okay, that should be direction.
Mr. Chair, could we possibly, put on the agenda for next meeting, discussion of, I don't know how we wanna word it, discussion of delinquent, accounts? Cause I had a couple of questions, obviously it's not an agenda item now.
It is on the agenda.
But again, can I bring up, I wanna wander a little bit off of what we're voting on.
Oh,
I'm in favor of what we just voted, but I have some other questions.
Sure, go ahead, it's on there, Bill, it says
Oh, okay.
outstanding accounts receivable, so.
I don't wanna sound dumb on this, but what does it take when someone comes into our planning department, building inspection, whatever it is, to provide a letter of credit, say $1,000 letter of credit from their bank? Just to alleviate this balloon here. Huckstore been sitting there forever. I remember them sitting here, we spent a lot of time.
oh, they're on a payment plan. They have been making payments?
This is showing $200 over 90 days.
Yeah, they've been making, their bill was pretty substantial, so
Okay,
they,
so they're making.
oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But going back to some of these others, $220, $640, 70 cents, I'm just wondering how difficult it is if a person goes to their bank and said, I want a $1,500 letter of credit. With possibility of Town of Vernon being the collector on it.
Well, we could have them deposit the money with us, and we could send it to whatever we wanted to,
That's another.
and hold the money for them, and then if we don't get all the payment, we got the money, and then what's ever left, we give it back, or.
Because, you know, we really try to work with people as a plan commission, as a board, accommodate what they're doing, and some of this stuff goes on. We could discuss one topic for a 1-hour plan commission meeting, and then 90 days later, we're trying to collect money. So I'm in favor of doing something other than what we're doing. We're going after the fact, again, putting the onus on the clerk's office. Maybe we got attorney fees that go to small claims. Sure, eventually we'll probably win, but it's.
I think, Bill, that may be a good staff meeting, so we can talk to the attorney and talk to Vince
Sure.
and have everybody hear it, so everybody's on the same page
Yeah.
with the planner, and then Vince will be there, and the attorney will be there, and town board will be there, and then we could.
We get a deposit for building permits, that we see that being submitted back, you know, $600 or $800 deposit that for building a house or something. People put out money to,
The ditch bonds are $400.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I have it
it's
so
not
noted,
a
Mr.
bad
Chairman.
Yeah.
item to bring up as
So
part of the
that,
discussion.
is that okay, we'll put it as staff meeting, so we can talk with attorney and.
Good idea. Yeah,
What's the next
there's
step
everyone
being
here.
done?
It
Yeah.
was January something,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it's coming up.
I'll look, but it's, I think,
This is really frustrating.
Get their credit card number.
Why should our clerk's office then have to follow up with small claims?
yeah.
Just keep going.
25th.
25th?
I've got Thursday the 25th
Okay,
for
thank you.
town staff at 1 PM.
1 o'clock. Thank you, I'm marking my.
Thursday the
calendar now.
25th, Bill, of January?
January 25th?
Yep, 1 o'clock.
That's what I've got.
Okay, that'll work.
That's probably a good item for a run past Sean. Without having to pay for it.
Okay. Any more discussion on accounts receivable outstanding? Okay. November 10th. Minutes.
I move we approve.
Second?
All right, any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. November 16th.
I move we approve the November 16th meeting minutes.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And the 22nd. Anybody make a motion on the 22nd?
I'll abstain, I wasn't present.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from November 22nd.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next meeting date is December 21st at 6 p.m. Public comments, are there any public comments? Any public comments? All right, no public comments. Motion to go into closed session. Consideration and possible action on motion to convene an executive session under Wisconsin Stat 19.85, Pren 1, Pren E, deliberating or negotiating and purchasing of public properties, investing in public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive bargaining reasons require a closed session, more specifically, negotiating a border agreement with the village of Waukesha and starting cooperative border agreements with communities bordering the town of Vernon, and compensation and possible action on the motion to convene into executive session. Wisconsin Stat 19.85, Pren 1, Pren C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation data for any public employee over which the governing body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically the review of the 2018 DPW Director contract, including closed session, the DPW Director, Town of Vernon Supervisors, and Town Clerk. Motion requires a roll call vote. I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Second?
So, Chairman Thomas Byrd,
Yes.
Supervisor Jeff Millies.
Yes.
Supervisor Gary Wildy.
Yes.
Supervisor Bill Craig.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll note for the record that your town board voted unanimously to go into closed session.
All right, thank you. We'll go into closed session at, let's say this is 7:30. Close enough.